government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
The best way to get something done, if it holds near and dear to you that you like to be able to, anyway, from Charlotte, another line going from in Florida down to Tampa of Putin's kleptocracy. Yeah. America is a nation that can be defined in a single word. I was going to the idea that Los Angeles and what am I doing here? For two reasons. One,
I'll lead an effective strategy to mobilize true international effort to pressure.
Let's be clear. I hear it all the time. Cumulative deficit, I can play for the programs many times over.
Well, I'm sick and tired of smart guys.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America. Made in America.
Welcome back to another night of Shtick with Koolfrogg. Hi, everybody. How you doing? Good to see you. Let's say hi to everybody real quick. What's up, Boomer? Good to see you, dear. Vicky T. Yeah. Ben Frail. Keith Gregory. Nice. Glad you're all here. And guess what? You might just get a camera for the night. You might just get the camera for the night. Depends on the tadpole. He's been doing really good and not actually coming in here and bugging me. He's been leaving me alone. So, hopefully I can actually leave that on for y'all and you actually can get, nice look at, a cool beard. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Jets and ships. It seems as though the United States is going to continue to actually send more stuff out to Middle East. Soldiers defected to North Korea. Yes, there is a U.S. soldier that has actually defected to North Korea. Decided to actually cross over into North Korea to actually live there, I guess. I guess. Soros MAX donations. It's not just one Soros. It's two of them. Two of them as maxed out donations to Joe Biden. We will hit on that for sure. And more. Yes, lots more. There's plenty to actually talk about tonight. We should be here for a few hours. Let's have some fun with this. If you haven't done so already, please smash that like button. Share this out to all those places that you like to share things. If you didn't like what you seen today, hit the like button anyway. Leave me a comment down below and tell me what you think I can do better next time. Let's get a move on here. If you're over on that Rumble side, go ahead and talk to me. We will actually conversate with you as well. Then hit that thumbs up button because, that's the way it works. Yeah, good on tap. Well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see. He's been doing good, so we'll see. We'll see. Let's get a move on here. So, to start this off, yesterday we had talked about the grain initiative that was actually blocked by Russians, not allowing shipments to actually go through the Bosphorus Strait. And then as we were talking about it and looking at it or whatever, I kind of, I'm like, oh, Romania wouldn't be a good choice for them to actually send things through. Maybe Poland might be their best choice. And all of a sudden today, Poland won't open its markets for Ukrainian grain, says Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki. Local farmers aren't going to like it. So he's looking at it as a big fat no. He's not going to actually allow that to happen. Article says Poland does not plan to open its markets for Ukrainian grain after the termination of the Black Sea grain deal. Polish Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki told reporters on Tuesday. Russia announced on Monday that it would not extend its participation in UN facilitated arrangement that allowed Ukrainian agricultural products be exported via the Black Sea, known as the Black Sea Grain Initiative. Asked whether there was a chance that the grain from Ukraine will be shipped to Poland now that the deal is off, Morawiecki pledged that Warsaw will not allow it and will continue to defend the interests of the Polish farmers. They're not interested. They don't want it. They don't care what is actually happening, currently going on. That's disallowing Ukraine to actually ship their agricultural products in and out of the country. They don't care. They have zero interest in what is coming out of Ukraine. We will probably be very tough when it comes to protecting the Polish market, Morawiecki said, adding that Poland will continue to help the EU transit Ukrainian grain. He noted, however, that Polish markets will remain closed for Ukrainian agricultural products. This is a task for the European Commission, for the U.S. administration in working out appropriate mechanisms for exporting Ukrainian grain. Why does the U.S. have anything to do with that? I don't see a reason why the United States needs anything to do with the mechanisms on what and how to export Ukrainian grain. Leave it up to them. Let them figure it out. Why are we wasting our time with them? I'm so sick of hearing about them. It's ridiculous. We're going on 515 days that we've been there, doing absolutely nothing but giving them our military might as well as money. Why? Why do we feel the need to continue to do that? We can play a part, but we will not be forced to open our market to the detriment of interest in the Polish farmers, the prime minister said. Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria have suffered substantial losses due to the influx of Ukrainian grain that came from the EU suspended customs duties on the country's agricultural products following the launch of Russia's military operation in Ukraine last year. I mean, they're all neighbors, so when they're, suffering substantial losses due to the influx of all these grains because they're unable to actually ship them out to the rest of the world that's actually potentially looking at them and needing them. We're just going to go ahead and we're going to, leave it right there. And because there's so much, there's, it's an overstock, which lowers the prices for almost anything, which is really going to be interesting how their prices will go down as everybody else around the world's prices will potentially go up just a little bit more than it already has been. We've seen it here in the States. We've seen it here in the States. Bread's up, 11% over the last year. 11% over the last year. That's ridiculous. That's expensive. In order to protect local farmers, in May, Brussels imposed temporary restrictions on imports in Ukrainian wheat, corn, grapeseed, and sunflower oil at the 5 member states, which would be the force until September 15th. The ban does not prohibit the transit of Ukrainian grain through the territories of these countries. Hungary's Minister of Agriculture, István Nagy, said last week that the 5 EU countries will be calling for an extension on the ban beyond September 15th and until the end of the year. This is the only way to protect the interest of European farmers. Hello, Suzanne. Good to see you, dear. So extension of the ban beyond September 15th is really kind of interesting, possibly until the end of the year, for that to actually something to be paying attention to, as they do actually produce quite a bit of grain for the rest of the world, and to protect the European farmers. Of course, they're going to protect the European farmers as much as they possibly can. The EU is going to do that. Why wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? So, just a little update from yesterday's thing or whatever. Nope, Poland don't want anything to do with Ukrainian grain. They want zero things to do with it. Bread in Australia is ridiculously expensive. Supermarket loaves are about $3 or $4 each. Yep, yep, and we're paying almost 6. And see, you look at Suzanne, almost 6. It's ridiculous. It's so expensive to eat bread right now. Which really, I mean, when you think about it, bread's not really the best thing for you anyway. Packed full of crap that it is. It might be okay to actually step away from the grain anyway and just be like, well, we can survive without it. There's lots and lots of foods out there that do not use grains or breads to actually feed you. Now, I get it. It's usually supposed to be that was the cheapest thing. You know, this is like you used to have jokes or whatever where it'd be like bread and water is what you'd get if you actually put yourself in jail or whatever. And it's just like, because that was the cheapest, least expensive thing to actually feed you. Nowadays, I would almost think that bread being as expensive as it is, they'd say, oh, you get a glass of water. You don't get the bread. It's too expensive. It's too expensive. Gallon of milk in the Northwest Territories is $30. Jeez. Ours kind of slightly went down as the market kind of opened up for local or whatever's. Just bought a couple gallons yesterday. $3.50 a gallon. Not bad. Not bad. Compared to somewhere you could, I've seen it go up to almost 6. So I mean, because local markets have actually been able to actually produce more milk, dairy product, or whatever, some of those prices had actually kind of gone down just a slight bit. I was keto for about a year and lost a lot of weight, but the bread is so convenient. Yeah, it really is kind of convenient. As long as you wash your hands before you put your hands in the bag, bread usually stays for a week or two before it would actually go bad. As far as keto diets go, I'm down. I'm good with meat. I like eating meat as long as they're not feeding me this reproduced meats that they're actually lab grown stuff. I don't want anything to do with that because I'm assuming that there's more to it than just lab grown. That's gross. What is up, Divinity? Good to see you, dear. Good to see you. So let's kind of move on a little bit from the grain. Again, that was an update from yesterday's. So then, jets and ships, that first thing that was on that list. Let's see if I can't make that a little bit more visible for you. U.S. sends more jets, warship to Middle East to protect ships from Iranian threat. Oh, there seems to be some other issues that are going on around the world that seem to be taking precedence when it comes to the United States. The United States has announced the deployment of additional fighter jets and warships in the Strait of Hormuz, the Gulf of Oman, amid rising tensions in the region following Iranian attempts to seize commercial ships there. The destroyer USS Thomas Hudner, along with a number of F-35 fighter jets, will be dispatched to the area to increase security, the Pentagon said on July 17th, which would have been just, yesterday for some of us, maybe 2 days ago for some of you out on that East Coast. The USS Tom Hudner was previously stationed in the Red Sea. The aircraft are intended to provide air cover for commercial ships navigating through the Strait of Hormuz, while also increasing the U.S. military's presence in the area as a deterrent against the Islamic Republic. Pentagon spokeswoman Sabrina Singh said it is unclear how long the ship and the aircraft will remain in the region. That because they're unclear of how long. Potentially could be longer than expected, and they may actually. Once they've actually done their particular station, may actually transfer in and out a different set of ships and planes to, uh, you know, rotate in and out to keep this presence, because this presence has always been needed, especially now that it's actually ramped up efforts to actually go after commercial liners. Iran just kind of really can't stay out of things. They just need to actually continue to push their will amongst others. Hello, Shiloh Mang. How you doing, dear? Good to see you. Good to see you. Presence is a present. Yes, it totally is. Always. I'm on my walk, so I can't see chat, but you can see the video, right? The reason that I said, hey, you might see something a little different later. Hi, I'm right here. uh, let's see, where was I? The light and continued threat and coordination with a partner and allies, the Department of Defense is increasing our presence and the ability to monitor the strait and surrounding waters. The latest deployments come from a wake of Islamic Republicans' recent attempted seizure of 2 oil tankers near the strategic strait, which included opening fire on one of them. So, if you, and which is the reason why we would actually step up our presence or whatever, is to actually prevent uh, them from actually seizing anything, any kind of oil tankers. And if they're going to start shooting at people, I wouldn't doubt that the United States wouldn't just say, all right, go ahead, shoot back. Could also, it could really do something bad if you actually think about if they actually do that. But the United States doesn't seem to be scared at the moment. Last week, U.S. defense officials announced the deployment of F-16s in the region. A-10 attack aircraft have already been present for almost 2 weeks in response to the Iranian provocations. According to the U.S. Navy, in Islamic Republic has seized at least 5 commercial vessels over the past 2 years, in addition to harassing more than a dozen others. Most of these incidents took place in and around the Strait of Hormuz, the narrow mouth of the Persian Gulf, through which 5 of the world's crude oil, which is 5th of the world's crude oil transits. So I mean, being that it's considered the 5th of the world's crude oil transits, I would almost still think that a majority of the oil that actually comes here to the United States might just happen to come to and through that area. And if that's the case, that's happening, I'm glad that we've actually maybe potentially stepped up our game in that region, though that could actually cause potential wars with and around Iran. Um, there's enough war going on in this world, so as far as that goes, I don't think that it's really safe to actually say that they're there. I think it's more of a measure of, hey, we're here and we're gonna do whatever we want. We're gonna do whatever we want, and that's what's gonna actually happen. So, again, more jets, more warships. So then, world news. World news kind of disturbs me when it actually comes down to it, and you actually start looking at what's what. Um, I don't think I have any videos. I'm gonna actually share this way. U.S. soldier facing military disciplinary actions. If I could actually talk today, that would be great. Flees to North Korea while touring a border village. Are they? This was supposed to be my last article that I could actually see. They seriously have it blocked? Them jerks. This was supposed to be my last one for the month, and I should still be able to actually view it. Arrgh. I'll find a different one. I'll find a different one. It's not a big deal. Thank you, starsandstripes.com. Jerks. I was just looking at the article too, not even 2 minutes ago, to be sure everything was going to work. Okay. So either way, what's actually supposed to happen here or whatever is they were actually looking to uh, uh, arrest this particular person for um, doing things in North Korea that he shouldn't have been doing, or in the United States. He's a United States serviceman. He actually went ahead, defected, and ran across the border laughing as he actually thought that it was okay that he would actually get away with whatever crimes that he actually committed. And I don't want that. Find it. I'll get it. Even if I have to go to CBS. There it is. I'll go to CBS. Close that. All right, here we go. U.S. soldier crossed North Korea willfully and without authorization. It was believed to be in custody in the country's forces. U.S. and international officials said Tuesday the United States Command, which operates a joint security area with a demilitarized zone between North and South Korea, first confirmed that an unidentified U.S. national had crossed the border. U.S. officials tell CBS News the soldier in question is a private second class Travis King, who had served time in a detention facility in South Korea, was released about a week ago to officials at U.S. Army Garrison Humphreys, the hub of the U.S. forces in the country. King was escorted to an airport in Incheon near Seoul for a flight back to the U.S. to be separated from the Army, the U.S. officials said. He parted ways from the escort at customs and then didn't board the plane. After going through airport security, he somehow returned and managed to join a border tour group before crossing into North Korea, the officials said. King had been in the Army since January 2021. Army spokesperson Bryce Doobie told CBS News. At the Pentagon, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin confirmed a service member willfully and without authorization crossed the military demarcation line separating the two countries during the tour, but didn't identify him. We believe that he is a DPRK custody. I mean, he could be in custody, or they could just look at it and be like, "Oh, you defected," and they're throwing him through indoctrination camp to actually turn him into one of their own, as well as potentially trying to find out if there's any information that he has that would actually help them in the long run. So it's kind of something that we might want to actually think about. If somebody's going to actually go to the point of actually doing this, what kind of information did this guy have? If he had information that was something that needed to actually be sent back, and he needed to actually be kept from actually going into North Korea, kind of interested to see where this actually goes. I doubt we're going to hear too much about this guy from North Korea, because North Korea isn't going to just be like, "Oh yeah, we're talking to him." And so we're closely monitoring investigating the situation and working to notify the soldiers' next of kin and engaging to address the incident. Oh, they're going to go after the next kin. They're going to be like, well, just in case he tries to contact you, you need to let us know. Otherwise, it's now your problem, and we'll actually go after you for this guy, and trying to defect to North Korea. And in terms of my concerns, I'm absolutely foremost concerned about the welfare of our troops, and so we will remain focused on this. Earlier, UN Command said that it was working on the KPA, North Korean Army counterparts, to resolve the incident. Local media said the man who is visiting the military demarcation line, Panmunjom, is a civilian tour group, crossed the border at 3:27 p.m. local time, or about 2:27 a.m. Eastern. The person who said that they witnessed the event was part of the same tour group, told CBS News that they had just visited one of the buildings at the site when the man gives out a loud ha 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 and just runs between some buildings. The witness said military personnel reacted within seconds to the man's actions, but at first there was confusion. I bet there was some confusion. And I know military personnel reacted because there's military personnel sitting on both sides of it. But if he was actually able to cross that line, the military might that's on the South Korean side can't do shit. The North Korean side can do whatever they would like to do and actually try, getting the information out of them, or just going ahead and actually just taking them out, or anything else for that reason. Run a poll on who hasn't been tempted to defect to North Korea sometime in the last 3 years. Run a poll on who hasn't been tempted to defect to North Korea. I mean, do you think that's somewhere that somebody really wants to go? I know that there's been several different people that have attempted to do so, for whatever reason, most likely because they did something that was against what American soldiers actually, asked them to do. They broke the law somehow, some way. They did something wrong, and so they feel that they're going to just go run away. Not me, no thanks. I'm with Suzanne. I'm not interested. I'm not interested in going anywhere near that. No way, shape, or form. No way, shape, or form. A small group of U.S. servicemen across the DMZ in 1962. James Joseph Drosnick was the last American soldier known to still be living in North Korea until his death in 2016. I mean, now there's another one. How do you feel about that, Ben? Do you think that you would actually want to go and hang out in North Korea? Do you think North Korea is going to be a good place for you? I'd be interested in what your opinion is on that, about yourself. Best I'll do is border from here to the U.S. Yep. I hear you, Suzanne. I hear you. Not that we're anything better than what Canada's currently, going through or whatever, but maybe slightly. Where I live is much the same. Where would that be? While you do that, I'm going to actually continue to read a little bit. The witness said military personnel reacted within seconds of the man's actions, but first there was confusion. I thought it was a bad joke at first, but then when he didn't come back, I realized that it wasn't a joke, and then everybody reacted and things got crazy. The witness said that there is no North Korean soldiers visible where the man ran, and that they were told there haven't been since Kuf pandemic, when the North attempted to completely seal its borders to the outside world. So I mean, it's kind of an interesting ordeal on that one. When they actually went ahead to seal off their borders, they actually did prevent this current whatever pandemic from actually encroaching into their borders, and they actually have a lower death rate from Koof than anybody else. It's kind of interesting. Ben's in Australia. World's most locked down city, totally corrupt government, voters are imbeciles. The hair and the beard. You like that? What's up, Rose? Good to see you, dude. It's just growing. It's growing. I still haven't cut it. It's been a few years. Um, they said after the man ran across the border, the tour group was rushed back to the Freedom House for everyone to give statements and then taken to their bus. So they took statements from everybody else that was there just to see if he actually most likely had anything to say before he actually did take off to run across the border. Um, I mean, if the guy really wants to, that's what he feels necessary to do to actually live his best life. More power to him. I just don't see that North Korea would be a great place to go. I really don't. I'm telling you this because it actually hit me quite hard, the witness said. It was on the way back on the bus. We got to one of the checkpoints. Someone said he was that we were 43 going in and 42 coming back. They said the group had initially boarded the bus for the tour in Seoul and had been required to provide identification to it in advance. So I mean, that's why they know who he is, because he actually bought the ticket to actually go ahead on the bus to get in the group, provided the identification to actually be able to go. They allowed him to continue, and this is what happens when they actually don't pay attention to who he really was. The demilitarized zone that separates North and South Korea is one of the most heavily militarized borders in the world. The two Koreas remain technically at war, as fighting in Korea War ended in 1953 with an armistice agreement, not a full peace treaty. The United States has maintained a large troop presence in South Korea ever since. Tension between the isolated North Korean regime of Kim Jong-un and the US, along with the America's key Asian allies, South Korea and Japan, has soared over the last decade. After a false start at diplomacy under former President Donald Trump, after a false start at diplomacy, if I'm not mistaken, he actually walked across that line, actually shook Kim Jong-un's hand, and actually did hold the conversation with the guy, actually starting some kind of diplomacy, only for us to actually go back and actually go to the point of actually putting somebody like Joe Biden in the place who's afraid to even go show up. The North has carried out a steady litany of missile and rocket tests, most of which are condemned by the West as violations of the United States Security Council resolutions. U.S. officials have made it clear they expect North Korea to carry out a new test of a nuclear weapon at any point, which would be significant escalation of what the West considers Kim's provocations. North Korea, on the other hand, regularly warns the U.S. against holding joint military exercises with South Korea, which it claims are rehearsals for an invasion. I mean, one side said it's going to be the each side complaining, pointing fingers at the other, saying, "Oh, they're the ones that are going to actually do it." Now you have to remember, I had an article that was actually from Stars and Stripes it's stripes.com, from Stars and Stripes, that actually was a little bit more right leaning. This is CBS, so they're going to give their little bit of a left spin to it. So grains of salt, no matter what I read. Make sure that you pay attention to all of that. Hopefully, went along again at some point. My best friend once picked me up. Talking about cutting hair. Yeah, no, this hair isn't getting cut anytime soon, and most likely, if it does, I'd probably actually put myself live, sit in front of a camera, and maybe actually shill for it to actually get to the point where I would actually go ahead and cut it. That's the only way it's most likely getting cut. U.S. nuclear submarine visits South Korea. We kind of actually covered this to a point within the last few days, but as far as that goes, we'll finish the article just to appease the point. The border incident on Tuesday came as U.S. military confirmed the arrival of South Korean port of a nuclear-armed submarine, USS Kentucky. The visit is the first by a U.S. nuclear submarine to South Korea in 4 decades. While it was announced in advance, North Korea was likely to claim it as as another American provocation. So I mean, North Korea really seriously sees any type of military might in and around the area coming from the United States as a provocation, for war. And when they actually see that and they feel that they're actually being looked at and they want to actually prevent anything like that, they start shooting off more rockets and missiles as much as they possibly can, usually into the Sea of Japan. But at the same time, some of these rockets do have these ICBMs do have the abilities to actually make it all the way here to the United States. They really do. And if anybody thinks that they won't actually eventually do something after continuously provoking them to actually do it, eventually they're just going to be like, all right, fine, here you go, hit the button, hit us somewhere where it really seriously matters, take out half the country, do whatever it is that they feel is necessary to actually, hurt us, to make us, step off just a little bit. South Korea's defense minister Lee Jong-sup said the sub's visit highlighted Washington's commitment to the extended deterrence of the threat posed by North Korea. The nuclear-armed sub sitting in the port of Busan shows the Allies' overwhelming capability of posture against North Korea, Lee said. But a week ago, Kim Jong-un's powerful sister and top advisor, Kim Yo-jong, warned the U.S. that any perceived reinforcements of an American commitment to defend South Korea would prompt the North to go farther away from the negotiating table. Again, if we continue to provoke them over and over again, what in the world would actually happen to us? It's not going to be cute. They're going to actually come after us. No, Frogman. What? Don't cut the hair. We thought you might have skipped over to North Korea. Great Liquor. What's up? Great Liquor. Good to see you, brother. About a week ago, Kim Jong-un's powerful... Oh, we already read that. She said North Korea was ready for resolutely countering any acts of violating the sovereignty of territorial integrity, and warned the U.S. to stop its foolish act of provoking the North, even by imperiling its security. Who's the most recent Americans detained in North Korea? 3 men. Kim Dong-chul, Kim Hak-song, and Tony Kim were released in May 2018 from detention in North Korea following a meeting between then Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and North Korea's Kim. Later that year, Bruce Bryan Lawrence was expelled from the country. A year before, American college student Otto Warmbier was released by North Korea after it had a severe neurological injury. He died shortly after his release. Let's all pray for this guy to actually, hopefully, not go through that, because whatever it is that caused that could be very dangerous to actually, wonder what they did to him to actually cause such a thing. As far as everybody else goes, okay, maybe this guy will actually be able to hang out a while if they allow it. Only if they allow it. So then, as far as that goes, that was pretty much what's going on over there. Is we really seriously need to pay attention to what happens to this particular American that decided to actually defect to North Korea, and what actually does come out of his mouth, if he has any kind of information at all. And now I don't know what kind of information he would actually have, being that he actually just sat in prison for so many years just before actually getting out and actually doing such a thing. What it will actually uh, in itself really happen to this guy. But this here, ha ha ha. Okay. Have fun with that. Have fun with that. Whenever it is that they decide to do to you, that they do. Because if you just got out of prison, what's that going to do to actually go run across to North Korea? Put you right back into a different prison? They were going to send you here to the States and maybe put you in a prison here. If you got put in a prison here, you actually get 3 hots and a cot. You go there, who knows what you get? Love that. Ha ha ha. So good. um, there's a lot. I do have quite a few tabs here, so we're gonna try keeping this going. Here you go. RFK Jr. RFK Jr. This guy that wants to run for Democrat calls for NATO to be disbanded. Which is the reason why within the last week we actually went ahead and actually heard something come out of current administration trying to sign a deal where nobody would ever be able to actually exit NATO ever again for any reason whatsoever. This is going to give them more of a reason to actually be like, oh, we got both sides looking at potentially canceling NATO, because Trump doesn't want it. He tried canceling it once. No, listen, he got RFK saying he wants to actually disband it. All right, U.S. could leave NATO. I could see that happen. I mean, they should. They should. NATO should just disband it in itself. It shouldn't be an organization that even exists. It existed for for one reason only, and that was to actually be the other side of the Warsaw Pact that was that of Russia. So for them to, which created this country, this weird border country called Ukraine. It just seriously, the ridiculousness continuously writes itself. NATO needs to be stopped. I'm with you. NATO does need to be stopped. Democrat presidential candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has called for a globalist North Atlantic Treaty Organization to be disbanded. RFK Jr., the nephew of President John F. Kennedy, argues that NATO is a threat to global peace. It is insane to even keep NATO going, Kennedy said during a fundraiser dinner on Tuesday. Russia lost the Cold War. The people who run Russia are people who we want running Russia. Yes, Catholic, Christian, conservatives. When you actually think about it, they're kind of the maybe the people that you would want running it, as opposed to the communists that were there at one other time. I don't know. The people who run Russia are the people that run who we want running Russia. Let's help them the way we did Germany and Japan after that war with the Marshall Plan. That's not what we did. Kennedy explained that the U.S. establishment's hostile attitude toward Russia over the years, along with NATO's deliberate expansion, led to the current conflict in Ukraine. If you treat somebody like your enemy, Kennedy said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're going to become your enemy. I mean, and he's not lying. He's not lying. Why is it that we so badly are so afraid and scared of a country like Russia? Why are we scared of them? Is there a reason that we're scared of Russia? I mean, we were afraid of the Soviet Union, USSR, when it came down to it, because of what they actually were pushing: communism, annihilation, war, grizzly bears, and all those, all that in between there. That's what I remember as a kid anyway, was the grizzly bears. Everybody was afraid that they were going to drop grizzly bears on us, and it was going to be a scary time. We were going to be fighting bears, big gnarly bears. uh, you know I certainly would not have moved NATO to the east if I had been president. Kennedy's NATO position closely resembled President Donald Trump's stance on the alliance. Trump was openly critical of NATO while he was president and reportedly suggested the U.S. should withdraw from the bloc in 2019. Yep, exactly he did. Exactly he did. Fearing the second Trump term would harken the end of NATO, Senators Marco Rubio and Tim Kaine introduced a bill earlier this month that would prevent the president from withdrawing from NATO without congressional approval. And that's where the issue comes into play. That's where the issue comes into play is, yeah, we could still potentially do so, but without congressional approval, which would take both the House and the Senate, to actually go ahead and give a majority saying that it's okay for us to actually, exit NATO. There's too many rhinos to go along with them Democrats that are there. As you can see, Marco Rubio stepping up to the plate out of Florida and saying, well, okay, I'll be the guy to actually sign this and actually, bring this deal. As far as Marco Rubio goes, and Tim Kaine, maybe these guys need to actually be primaried out of their seats and replaced with somebody that's actually going to do their job and stop, thinking that we need to actually keep NATO as being a thing. NATO shouldn't be a thing any longer. It needs to cease to exist. NATO, the WHO and the WEF, they all got to go. I mean, there's plenty of other little acronyms that are out there that could actually go along with that. When it comes down to it, CDC, a couple other people, maybe we just kind of start naming things that need to go. We could actually probably come up with a great list of people. Other politicians outside the U.S. have also spoken out against NATO, such as German MP Seven Degdelen. Degdelen recently gave a speech in German Bundestag as the NATO summit in Vilnius, Lithuania, took place. It is a high time to dissolve this murderous military pact, she said. After 75 years, it is time for the USA to withdraw its troops, including nuclear weapons, from Germany. Yep. After 75 years, shit, after 40 years was probably more than enough. But yeah, after 75 years of having basically run the rest of the world, because without the United States, NATO would cease to exist. The second that United States actually stepped out and actually said, nope, I'm out, we're done with NATO, every other country would sign on and be like, all right, dissolve it. The only reason all these other countries really stick around and keep it as a thing is because the United States dumped so much military might and money into this particular issue. Notably, of other political parties that are especially opposed to NATO have sprung up across Europe over the last 25 years. The influence was greatly undermined during the Ukraine conflict. That didn't stop Democrat President Joe Biden from claiming last week that NATO was more unified than ever. It doesn't seem like it, does it? Doesn't seem like it sprung up across Europe and across 25 years. And you're actually, How many countries? Dozens of other political parties. Dozens of them, huh? Dozens. There's only now 32 countries that are actually part of NATO. Seems like there's an awful lot of countries that might just want to step away from this particular issue. This influence was greatly undermined during the Ukraine conflict. It didn't stop Democrat President Joe Biden from claiming last week that NATO was more unified than ever. Biden made the comment shortly after failing to secure Ukraine's bid to join the alliance, a move that could immediately trigger a nuclear World War III. World War III. Way to go, Joe Biden. Glad that you're the one that actually goes ahead and actually potentially pulls the trigger on this to actually cause such a disturbance, such as World War III. Nothing to see here, folks. No, totally a lot to see. There's so much going on, and World War III is right around the corner. Right around the corner. Oh, wait, maybe it's already started and we just don't know it yet. Could be. All right. Speaking of Russia and everything that's going on, so millions of sensitive Pentagon emails accidentally sent to a Russian ally? To a Russian ally? I thought we were at war with them. We didn't like them. We were afraid of them. Oh, now we have allies. All right, great. We've all accidentally replied all to an email. Have we? I don't think I have. I've never hit reply all or sent an email to somebody that I didn't intend to send. Every single one of them had a reason, a specific reason why I sent them, and you pay attention to your emails before you hit send anyway. You'll look at them twice, you look at them 3 times before you go ahead and you do such a thing. Anybody here actually sent out an email accidentally? Yeah, right. Molly is very pro-Russian, apparently. Or sent a message to the wrong recipient at a time or two. Nope, never have. But most Americans likely haven't funneled millions of messages containing sensitive Department of Defense information to a foreign country that happens to be close ally with Russia. A close ally with Russia. I wonder why anybody would want to be a close ally with Russia. Christian conservative Russia. I have no clue. That is unfortunately the reality now being grappled with the Pentagon brass, despite warnings going back nearly 10 years that a common typo in email addresses was leading millions of sensitive DoD emails to inboxes not within the U.S. military, but to addresses the West African nation of Mali. Just a little country off, somewhere, whatever, that had similar letter code to actually go to the end of their email. You see, the suffix for military emails is MIL. .mil, yes, is military. And the country identifier for Mali is .ml. I mean, I get it. It's kind of close. It's kind of similar. But, just by omitting the I accidentally and sending, stuff to a country just so happen to actually be friends with or allies with our enemy. It just doesn't make sense. Omitting the I is an easy enough mistake to make with some significant consequences. This is just a little mistake, just omitting something as simple as an I. It wasn't nothing that was just something huge. It was something really small. something really small that, anybody that had fast typing fingers might just kind of repeatedly, repeatedly omit. Uh-huh. As the Financial Times reminded this week, millions of U.S. military emails have been misdirected, though the typo leak that has exposed highly sensitive information, including diplomatic documents, tax returns, passwords, and the travel details of top officers. Just a few, just a couple things. Passwords. Who needs passwords for anything? No big deal. No big deal. What's more, despite repeated warnings over a decade, a steady flow of email traffic continues to the .ml domain after being first identified almost a decade ago by Johannes Zerbrier, a Dutch internet entrepreneur who has a contract to manage Mali's country domain. FT explained. Decade ago. A decade ago, somebody had actually realized this was happening, and they actually said something to actually get us to stop doing this. But whatever. Whatever. No big deal. No big deal. Just, what an oopsie. Just a tiny little oopsie. Not big. I gotta head to bed. Night, Frog. Night, Vicky. You have a good one, dear. Sleep well. Earlier this month, Zubar warned American officials again that the risk is real and could be exploited by adversaries of the U.S. because as of Monday, control of Mali's domain reverted from the entrepreneur to the government of Mali, which is closely allied with Russia, reminded FT, meaning Malian authorities will be able to gather the misdirected emails and do with them what they please. They can do whatever they want. It doesn't matter. They got passwords. Oh, just go log in. Do what you want. It's no big deal. It's just a couple of things that we've fucked up over in the last few years. As for the content of misdirected emails, FT said much of the spam is marked as classified. Still, some messages contain highly sensitive data on serving U.S. military personnel, contractors, and their families. Even this unclassified information in emails that end up in Mali would be a boon to U.S. adversaries, as FT explained, based on comments from the former NSA director, Mike Rogers. Quote, their contents include x-rays and medical data, identity document information, crew lists for ships, staff lists for bases, maps of installations, photos of bases, naval inspection reports, contracts, criminal complaints against personnel, internal investigations into bullying, official travel itineraries, bookings, and tax and financial records. Just a few things that these allies to Russia just so happen to get. Just a little, not huge. Mike Rogers is a retired American admiral who used to run the National Security Agency in the U.S. Army's Cyber Command. If you have a kind of sustained access, you can generate intelligence even just from unclassified information. This is not uncommon. It's not out of the norm that people make mistakes, but the question is the scale, the duration, and the sensitivity of the information. It's not uncommon. It's normal activity to send emails to whoever, whenever. Don't worry about it. It's just that the information that was there, that's what we need to worry about. It's so ridiculous. The United States is so fucked right now. If they keep on doing this, they've been doing this for better part of a decade. What the hell? Suzanne, I'm headed to bed as well. Koolfrogg, good night. Good night, Suzanne. You sleep well. I will talk to you tomorrow at some point in time, I'm sure. Have a good one. Rogers warned the transfer of control to Mali posed a significant problem. It's one thing when you're dealing with a domain administrator who is trying, even unsuccessfully, to articulate the concern, said Rogers. It's another when it's a foreign government that sees it as an advantage that they can use. Mhm. And that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to use it for their own advantage. They're going to take it. When you look at that list of things, that were in here, x-rays of medical and data, identity document information, crew lists on ships, how many people are aboard each ship, staff lists at bases, maps of installations. Like, maps of installations isn't it a big deal? No big deal. No big deal. It's okay. All of this stuff that you actually see there is pretty much way too much to accidentally send to another country because I forgot the little letter I when sending the email multiple times over and over again. Why are they sending really seriously? Like, like, somebody didn't come down and be like, who's ever actually sending these emails, come down on them and actually tell them to stop sending these emails to the wrong place. You're doing this wrong. So dumb. So dumb. All right, let's see what's next. White House National Security Chief says UFOs are having an impact in our training ranges and need to be treated as a legitimate issue. Rear Admiral John Kirby retired. Yes, we know this guy, John Kirby. He's actually somebody that's actually very well known. He's been around for a while. He actually comes up and he speaks quite often. UFOs are already having an impact in combat training in America's fighter pilots. A top national security official has warned some of these phenomena we know have already had an impact in our training ranges, according to John Kirby, the National Secretary Council's coordinator for strategic communications under President Biden. The comments suggest a new approach from the White House, whose press secretary Karine Jean-Pierre quietly dismissed questions about the F-22 stealth Raptor jets that shot down 3 UFOs last February by saying, "I love E.T. the movie." Of course, that's what Karine Jean-Pierre would actually say. That's what she would say, because she's so ignorant to the point that Karine Jean-Pierre would actually go to the point of actually saying something so stupid is, "I love E.T. the movie." Like, UFOs don't actually exist. Maybe they don't. But according to this, Admiral Kirby actually emphasizes that they actually do exist. Kirby, a retired rear admiral in the U.S. Navy, said an unanswered question surrounding UFOs must now be treated as a legitimate issue. In the White House briefing Monday, he told reporters when pilots are out trying to do training in the air and they see these things, they're not sure. Why is this kind of cut off? They're not sure what they can or what they are, or it can have an impact on their ability to perfect their skills. Well, Admiral Kirby emphasized that the Pentagon has taken the UFO issue seriously. He declined to answer questions on individual whistleblowers, specifically retired senior intelligence officer David Grush. Remember, we actually did a quite lengthy reading about this David Grush and his UAP and the stuff that he had actually seen, found, and actually gone through. You could probably go back and actually find it because I believe I actually did label the particular episode UAP, if I'm not mistaken, whose explosive UFO claims have sparked open congressional oversight hearings set for July 26 next week. So, there's going to be some interesting stuff happening next week when it actually comes to UAP, UFO. Last month, Grush came forward alleging the U.S. military and defense contractors are hiding evidence of crashed UFOs, recovered beings, and UFO-related deaths. I'm not going to talk about individual whistleblowers, Admiral Kirby responded. When asked if he believed that the claims made by former Pentagon insiders like Grush, according to the comments made by Senator Marco Rubio last month, Grush's testimony has been notably corroborated in classified hearings by other defense sector witnesses, some of whom who may appear before the House oversight hearing of UFOs scheduled for next Wednesday. Dismissing comments on the ridicule that has historically surrounded the UFO topic, Admiral Kirby insisted that the Pentagon wants to better understand what's going on in the nation's restricted airspace where pilot training occurs. The Pentagon has stood up for entire organization to help collate and coordinate the reporting and analysis of sightings of UAP across the military. Kirby said, using the preferred terminology for those airborne enigmas, unidentified aerial or anonymous phenomena, we wouldn't have stood up to the organization at the Pentagon to analyze and try to collect and coordinate the way these sightings have reported if we didn't take it seriously. The comments add further, wait to the U.S. Navy's so-called 2015 gimbal UFO video taken by the F-18's infrared target pod and depicting a mysterious object flying in restricted airspace off the Atlantic coast. That airspace is a warning area, had been cordoned off for using by naval aviators training exercises. You can see there's plenty of videos to kind of go along with some of the stuff that they're actually speaking of. Kirby also said that the current U.S. military efforts are the first coordinated, integrated effort in an apparent dismissal of the now public but once highly classified UFO investigation programs run by the Pentagon Defense Intelligence Agency, the Advanced Aerospace Weapon Systems Application Program, and the Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program. Kirby was quick to add that neither he, the White House, nor the Pentagon has reached any firm conclusion that the phenomena, despite having shot down multiple UAP over Canada and Alaska last February, we're not saying what they are or what they're not. So these ones that were shot down over Alaska and Canada or whatever, these UAP that were supposedly there, got shot down, and the boxes that they actually these blocks, whatever they were, that they actually seen and actually shot out of the air, just so happen to crash land in places where they're unable to actually go retrieve them. No big deal. No big deal. It's okay. We're not saying what they are or what they're not, Kirby noted. We're saying that there's something our pilots are seeing. We're saying it has had an effect on some of the training operations. And so we want to get to the bottom of it. We want to understand it better. It's already had an impact, he reiterated. The questions of Admiral Kirby were posed by Blake Burm, chief Washington correspondent of Nexstar's media new cable news network, News Nation, which has staked its name in groundbreaking UFO reporting since launching 2 years ago. So this guy, Blake Burnham, he really seriously has a big, huge invested interest through News Nation to actually go ahead and continue to actually ask questions about the UFO, UAP. And he actually got the chance to actually ask Kirby himself what it was that he think that they saw and what was actually happening. And he's just kind of writing it off like, well, yeah, we'll do something when it's necessary. And all he's pretty much saying here is that it's distracting the pilots. It's distracting the pilots to actually, take them to the point of maybe not wanting to go fly any longer because they're afraid. Because they're afraid. Uh, eh, Kind of a shit article in itself, but still kind of interesting to actually see Kirby's actually speaking of the point, and he's just kind of brushing over it, like, yeah, they might exist. I'm being told they exist, but I don't care. I don't care. Which when you actually do, if you did care, and you actually thought about it, UFO UAP, when it comes down to it, if they actually tried attacking the Earth, wouldn't most of these countries like the United States and Russia actually just stop doing what they're doing and actually just go after that and actually see what they can do to actually speak with with them and maybe take up sides with each other as opposed to actually fighting each other over and over again over particular issues. It could be fun, could be interesting to actually see what comes out of that. Uh, but I don't like Kirby either, so all right. Kind of move on a little bit from the military might. And let's look at these fools. Here you go. George and Alex Soros max out donations to Biden's campaign. Oh, max out donations. There you go. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. Because that's what we want. We want another term for the oldest man ever to be president. Not really. Anybody that's actually out there that's actually paying attention, please, please pay attention to what your current president is actually doing. Think about it for a few seconds and let's maybe try preventing this from going any further. These people that are these philanthropists that are actually maxing out donations are evil. They're evil, evil people. It's been revealed that George Soros and his son Alex donated a maximum amount allowable by the law to President Joe Biden's re-election committee during the second quarter in 2023. While this is Soros' first monetary contribution to a candidate for the 2024 election, yeah, bullshit. Both the billionaire and his heir are expected to be massive donors as the contest approaches. Of course they are. According to Fox News, fuck Fox, the Soroses each signed checks for about $6,600 on June 30th, bringing the total amount raised by Biden and the Democratic National Committee since the president declared he was running for the re-election in April to $72 million. $72 million. That's how much he's gotten in donations for this particular race to go run for president in 2024. That's ridiculous and amazing at the same time. During the election cycle, the Soroses have yet to donate to the Biden Victory Fund, a super PAC that splits contributions between the president, the DNC, and the state campaigns. In the lead up to 2020, however, the pair gave the combined $1.2 million to the fund. Alex outspent his father by about $220,000, coming in just under the individual limit allowed under campaign finance laws. George Soros has been among the greatest funders of left-wing causes across the United States and beyond, shelling out billions of donations to prop up campaigns for presidents, governors, district attorneys, and other political positions, as well as numerous organizations focused on tackling issues from racial injustices to climate change. I mean, if this philanthropist, he's been around forever, tumbled out of Turkey, made his way into Nazi Germany, uh, whatever, stood up for him, actually walked out, moved himself into the UK, started making money there, made himself to the United States. That's where he's currently existing, and he obviously a very intelligent man, but kind of disturbing to actually understand that he just might be a Yahtzee himself. Many of the district attorneys he has supported have gone on to win the elections and institute far left policies, allowing criminals to roam the streets and wreak havoc on their communities. Alex Soros was formally handed the reins of his father's $25 billion empire in June. He has promised to be even more political as chairman of the Open Society Foundations, which claims to focus on promoting democracy, human rights, climate justice, and addressing inequity. Since taking over, the younger Soros has cut 40% of the foundation's staff. Remove the staff, let's keep it to a happy little party. That way he can actually make more money himself to continue to donate to any cause that he feels. Kind of scary to actually think that George Soros and his son Alex, because I mean, obviously, son Alex is actually fairly young. George Soros is sitting in and around 100. Could potentially looking at end of life, really soon here, as he had just handed over the reins to his own conglomerate that he owns over to Alex. So Alex, he's going to continue in daddy's footsteps and be probably the largest donor to almost every single country ever, as long as they actually can push a democratic agenda and get what they want. Get what they want. Student loans. Student loans. What Biden's SAVE plan means for student loan borrowers. Get out of here. Student loan borrowers could have thousands of dollars over the life of their loans due to challenges of income-driven repayment plans set to go into effect this fall. Yeah, I mean, it being that the repayment plans are going to actually go back into effect this fall. There's an awful lot of us that will actually be affected by this particular situation, and we could actually be seeing um, a lot of people actually having problems. Which the bailout could be okay. Will I take a bailout if I actually get the chance to actually do so? Sure, why not? Because if I don't take it, somebody else will. If I don't take it, somebody else will, and the money's there. The money's there. So why would I actually just be like, no? But at the same time, I'm against it. It's not something that should actually be done. I believe that everybody that took loans, they took it themselves to actually go to school. It wasn't that the government forced them to take it. For them to actually step and be like, okay, we're going to pay your debt, isn't doing anything. It's not stimulating no economy. It's not going to actually help anything other than the fact of getting somebody out of student loan debt, which puts everybody else in debt because now your tax money is actually going to pay for that, as opposed to being able to pay for something else that might be actually worth the point. The changes are possible despite the blow dealt to debt forgiveness by the Supreme Court late last month. The Biden administration introduces saving on valuable education. SAVE. SOVESAVE. Hmm. Hmm. It's kind of weird. Kind of weird. The acronym doesn't really line up, does it? To transfer the old IDR system into what the Department of Education called the most generous student repayment option ever given to borrowers. Here's what borrowers should know about the new SAVE plan before payments resume this fall after a 3-year hiatus. What is the SAVE plan? The plan, announced earlier this year, makes multiple significant changes that will lower the monthly payment for many borrowers, including some who could see their bill go to $0 a month by enrolling in the program. Uh, Anyone with direct loans can enroll in the plan, replacing the old revised pay as you earn student loan system. Those who are already in the repay program will be automatically switched to the SAVE program. One of the biggest changes in the SAVE plan is the income protected from payments will rise from 150% above the federal poverty guidelines to 225%. This means a single person earning less than $32,805 a year will have monthly payments of $0. The same would happen to families of four that make less than 67.5. As far as that goes, me and my family actually make less than that particular amount in a family of three. Seriously, let's go. Let's go. I'll take a $0 payment if that's what's going to happen. Sure, let's do it. You going to pay it off for me? All right, sounds fun. The administration tells us that new plan will save a single borrower about $1,080 a year, and families of four about $2,244 a year. And a plan also includes a provision to automatically enroll borrowers who become delinquent on payments. Oh, nice. A provision to automatically enroll borrowers who have become delinquent on payments. So if you've actually gone to the point where you've been unable of any way, shape, or form to actually pay off your student loans, they're going to make your payment zero. And if you're delinquent, you automatically get enrolled to get the $0 payment. Okay. It sounds like they just want us to actually not have student loans and we should all just go to school for free. How does the teacher get paid? How does the school keep its maintenance up? Where do the books come from? Excuse me, how is this going to actually be good for anybody? The borrowers who are most vulnerable to default, if they're able to implement automatic enrollment in this plan, effectively those borrowers, when they went if they fall behind on their payments, once they're 75 days delinquent, they'll be enrolled in this plan. Jason Cohn, a research analyst in Urban Institute Center of Education Data and Policy, told The Hill. What does the SAVE plan mean for student loans? The department will stop monthly interest that is not covered by the SAVE plan, so borrowers won't see their loans grow from unpaid interest. Prior to the administration's changes, if a borrower failed to make a payment that covered their interest, it was then added to the loan's balance. With the SAVE plan, the new regulations specify that any accrued but unpaid interest relative to the calculated payment gets waived, disappears, and the government pays for it. Student loan expert Mark Kantrowitz told The Hill. I mean, if that's the case, that you get automatically enrolled in such a thing for being delinquent, for not paying, for being unable to pay, and they're going to pay it off for you. They're going to take away any interest and wipe that out to zero, and then give you more money to actually finish paying off the loan. That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money for them just us and to be like, oh, let's just waive it. It's gone. Don't worry about it. We don't have to worry ever again about making a payment. If you're already making payments, stop making the payments. Just stop making the payments. It doesn't matter. They'll clear it for you. And now you're not responsible for what you put yourself in school for. I'm not for this. I'm really not. But That's what they actually did. They put the loophole there saying, hey, if you're delinquent, we'll actually we'll pre-enroll you. We'll waive this, we'll waive that, we'll take away all payments, and you don't have to worry. You don't have to worry about it ever again. You know how many people are all of a sudden just being like, okay, they're going to do it for me? I don't even have to apply for it? They're just going to wipe it out for me? Game on. Let's go. Let's go. I'm no longer in debt. I'm no longer in debt. Love it. Awesome. The Education Department estimates the plan will bring down payments by 40%, yet the Black, Hispanic, and American Indian, Alaskan Native borrowers, their lifetime payments per dollar will go down by 50%. Don't worry, if you're white, if you're white, it may not be as good. May not be as good. Very interesting. Very good. No. Good. No. Instead of actually going and actually looking at the people that are still in poverty. Oh, look, hi. Those that are still in poverty that actually don't have the money to actually do a damn thing. If you're white, they might not give a shit. They might not give a shit. Sounds a little racist, doesn't it? This is something that we believe will help millions of people, said Cody Honey, executive director of the Student Debt Crisis Center. I think it's important to recognize that the SAVE program is going to make a positive difference in people's lives. But others argue that the absence of further protections like bankruptcy, some of the IDRs distract from the larger problem. I really don't even look at the IDRs and the advertising points anymore because, in the absence of the leverage of bankruptcy protections, the Department of Education behaves in the worst of bad faith with all of the IDRs, and they truly have no intention or desires of actually canceling anyone's loans. Alan Kalingi, founder of StudentLoanJustice.org, told The Hill. So, really? The Department of Education behaves as the worst in bad faith with all the IDRs, and they truly have no intentions and desires to actually cancel anyone's loans. So, where's the money going to go? If he actually just he signed the bill saying that's what's going to happen. Oh, wait, it's not a bill. It's not a bill. It didn't go through Congress. It's an executive order. It's an executive order. Just another one of those things that are so racist for you to do. To run a country or dictatorial to actually run a country off of executive orders. Awesome dictator that we got. Certain hurdles such as undue hardship, those are his words, by the way, have been uniquely applied to student loans to prevent debt discharge, he added. After Biden's student loan or student debt relief through the Higher Education Relief Opportunities and Students Act failed at the Supreme Court in June, he announced a new plan to get borrowers loan forgiveness through the Higher Education Act. The administration proposed a rule to begin the road to another student debt relief plan, but more details of how much relief and who gets it won't be available for months. From there, it is likely to be challenged. The lack of student debt relief as the SAVE program goes into place is of real concern for advocates who say Biden has the power to make this a smoother transition for borrowers by giving loan forgiveness before payments resume. We know turning the student loan system back on, introducing folks to the new repayment program, new student loan servicers, all of this is colliding at the same time, and it is going to make it incredibly difficult for borrowers to manage their student loans moving forward. It's going to make it incredibly difficult for the borrowers to manage their student loans. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? Because they're going to actually instill it that you have to continue to pay. And then if you actually qualify, then they give you some monies, this, that, and the other to actually, wipe it out and be like, okay, now you're there's no interest. We're going to take your payments from you. You're debt free. You're free to go. What qualifies for the SAFE plan? The plan will fully go into effect on July 1st, 2024, but the administration will implement 3 parts of the program before payments resume. This includes raising the federal poverty guidelines to protect income from repayments up to 225%, not charging borrowers for interest not covered by the plan, and allowing married borrowers who do their taxes separately to put their spouse's income in the payment calculation for the plan. So, though we're not sharing taxes, and though we're not actually filing together, I can still use the income to show that we're not making enough money to actually make the payments, and then they can actually kind of it's really seriously kind of difficult to actually see how this will actually work out. I don't see it being a good deal. I see it's still going to be I think it's still going to be a bad deal for us no matter what, for them to actually do this, because as opposed to me paying for my own loans, now you get to pay for my loans. Now you get to, it's on you, dude, through your taxes. The administration's income driven repayment rule is nothing more than the backdoor attempt to provide free college by executive fiat, Education and Workforce Committee Chairman Virginia Fox said at the time. Estimates vary widely, but the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School estimates the administration's SAVE plan will cost about $475 billion over 10 years. The analysis suggests 53% of the current loan volume will move to SAVE after the plan goes live in July 2024, which suggests about $869 billion will be subject to enhanced subsidies under SAVE. Really? Chat's silent? Y'all got nothing to say about any of it? You got no opinions for me? Not a thing? If you do, go ahead, hit me up. I'll talk to you. Oh, kind of, let's laugh a little bit. Let's laugh a little bit at this old decrepit fool. I'm going to stop the screen for a few seconds and reshare it so we can get some audio. Joe Biden falls apart on camera during meeting with Israel's president. President Joe Biden welcomed President Isaac Herzog of Israel at the White House on Tuesday, but attention quickly shifted from the importance of the allies' meeting to whether Biden would make it through the photo opportunity with members of the press intact. As cameras rolled, Biden told the president of Israel that he doesn't remember 2/3 of the past 75 years since Israel was established. Most of those, of course, Biden served in the United States Senate. He doesn't remember. He just simply does not remember. He has absolutely no clue what is going on. He doesn't remember a damn thing. And, he doesn't remember 2/3 of the last 75 years. So about 50 years worth of stuff. He's been part of the Senate and the presidency now. Oh, let's see. How long has it been? About 50 years, maybe almost 60 years. Doesn't remember. I don't remember, he says. I just don't remember. I find it really difficult.
As I often said, if there wasn't Israel, we'd have to invent one. But 75 years. 75 years. It's hard to believe. It's hard to even remember about 2/3 of those. As I often said, if there wasn't Israel, we'd have to invent one. But 75 years. 75 years. It's hard to believe. It's hard to even remember about 2/3 of those. I barely remember 2/3 of that.
Biden then proceeded to make remarks to his counterpart, a critical ally of the United States in the Middle East, while apparently reading verbatim from notes prepared for him in his lap, rarely making eye contact with President Herzog, to whom he was speaking. If you can't look at them while you're speaking to them, what's the point? If you have to look down to continuously look at your cards that you have written. Now, I look at the screen, I read the screen. I go and I look at you. I look over here, look at chat. So it's a little different. It's a little different. But when it comes down to it, for this old decrepit fool to do exactly what he's doing, doesn't know what he's talking about, didn't go over any of the points that he needed to speak of, to even try remembering them. Why? Because he doesn't remember anything for the last 50 years. How is he going to remember something all of a sudden now?
And we brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Aqua and old Shram.
Yes.
And as I affirmed to Prime Minister.
Blah, 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 blah. Poor old guy. He's got more money than the most of us can even think of. He's not poor. He's just a decrepit old fool that's getting his strings pulled to actually become the puppet that he is.
We brought Israelis and Palestinians together at a political level, and Aqua and old Shram.
Yes.
And as I affirmed to Prime.
He's seriously been looking at the cards, sitting with his hands, looking down at the cards the whole time, and not looking up, not looking at anything to actually make it look like he's doing it, and barely moving. As Harris Faulkner actually says, someone please check on the president. Seriously, yes, check on him. Make sure that he's okay. Because, when it comes down to it, I think we might not want his vice president to actually take over. I really kind of think that we might be afraid of that. Reminds me of the old guy crying on a park bench, says he's a millionaire, lives in a mansion, married to a supermodel, but can't remember where he lives. That's a great point. Other than the fact that his Dr. Jill is nowhere near supermodel. Nowhere near. When Biden wrapped up the public portion of his meeting with President Herzog, reporters in the Oval Office began hollering their questions. As a comment, Biden ignored them, but looked around the room with half puzzled, half smirk. With a puzzled half smirk.
Thank you for your friendship, and a lot to talk about. Thank you all very much.
And a lot of shouted questions there, but the president, we're told, did not bite on any of them as the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog, makes a visit to.
He did, though. Did you see his lips? Do you know how to read lips? Anybody see that? Anybody see the words that were actually come out of him? I can't. He's got people sitting there asking him thousands of questions. And he's afraid he's going to get in trouble. So says, I can't. Those are the words that were mumbled out of his lips. Look, let's watch again. Oh, if you can. Come on. Stupid thing. All right, let's refresh the screen.
Thank you for your friendship, and a lot to talk about. Thank you all very much.
And a lot of shouted questions there, but the president, we're told, did not bite on any of them as the Israeli president, Isaac Herzog, makes a visit.
I can't. He simply says, I can't. I can't do it. I can't answer your questions. I can't hear you. I can't, whatever it is that he's actually saying that he can't do is he can't even wipe his own ass. As Democrats in Capitol Hill, such as Reps Pramila Jayapal, Ilhan Omar, and Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, continue to smear Israel on false accusations, Jayapal at least has drawn a condemnation in fellow House Democrats for her comments. She's since tried to walk back. It's all the more important for President Biden to lead by example to reinforce the United States relationship with Israel's government and people. I can't. I'm to the point where I just can't. I can't believe how ignorant this old fool is. He can't look up to actually look a person in the eye. He can't look up to actually do his job correctly. He can't. Time to replace him. Let's get rid of him. Let's replace him with almost anybody else in the world. Maybe he said he had ants. I got ants. That's so good. What's up, Go Hagen? Good to see you. Oh, let's continue on. 13 nations agree to crack down on farming to fight global warming. Yes, there you go. Let's fight global warming. Because this guy back here has no private jets. He ain't going nowhere. Good to see you, Go Hagen. The United States has joined 12 other nations from around the world in an agreement to crack down on the agricultural industry to fight global warming. International governments have agreed to sign pact pledging to target food production by shutting down farms to reduce methane emissions. Thank you so much, Clumsily Clairvoyance, for the gifted membership. It looks as though Mike Gohagan actually picked up that membership. Welcome to the Frog Army. Thank you again, dear. That's awesome. The 13 nations signed the global methane pledge are Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Chile, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Germany, Panama, Peru, Spain, the United States, and Uruguay. Oh, look at those 13 countries that are like, yeah. It's, global warming's a thing. Totally. Let's go ahead and let's cut down on methane emissions coming from farms. Let's stop producing stuff off of farms. We don't need it. It's okay. Yep, it's okay. The move seeks to drastically cut meat and dairy supply around the world to allegedly save the planet from climate change. The U.S., Australia, Brazil, and Argentina nations that are signing the pact are among the world's largest producers of meat. Meat, the good stuff. Meat, because as Ukraine, a large supplier of grains, have an issue actually getting their stuff out for breads and grains. Let's go ahead and let's shut things down here, which reduces the production of meat, giving us absolutely nothing to eat. Perfect. Let's do it. It eats the bugs. On behalf of the United States, Democrat President Joe Biden's special envoy for climate, John Kerry, has already vowed to sign the pact. As Slate News previously reported, Kerry insists that farmers must slash food production to meet the net zero goals of the globalist green agenda. The signing of the pact was announced earlier this year by the Global Methane Hub. The Global Methane Hub is an organization dedicated to advancing the green agenda of the World Economic Forum as outlined by the Paris Climate Agreement. In a joint statement, representatives from the nations involved in the anti-farming pact celebrated this agreement. Yay! What did they celebrate with? Meat? Beef sticks for all? Yeah! We did it! We shut down global methane by actually reducing the production of food. We don't need food, do we? Food systems are responsible for 60% of the methane emissions, said Marcelo Mana, CEO of Global Methane Hub. We congratulate countries willing to take the lead in food systems methane mitigation and confirm our commitment to support this type of initiative with programs that explore promising methane mitigation technologies and underpinning research of methane mitigation mechanisms to create new technologies. Ooh, okay. Mitigating methane is the fastest way to reduce warming in the short term, says climate czar John Kerry. Uh-huh. It's not flying private jets everywhere. That's not going to do it. Or 35 car motorcades. No, that's not going to do it either. Food production. Yep. That's where it is. It must be the food. It definitely has to be the food. Food and agriculture can contribute to a low methane future by improving farmer productivity and resilience. We welcome agriculture ministers participating in the implementation of Global Methane Pledge. We are very pleased that the countries that participated in the conference committed a good practice in livestock, not only to adapt to climate change, but also to mitigate methane emissions. This includes countries from 5 continents and most of the major cattle producing countries of the west of the world. Of the west of the world. Isn't that something? All the most major cattle producing countries will actually go ahead and sign on to this and make it a thing to be okay with. 9 likes and 7 people watching. Clearly, not all of you hit that like button. Smash that like button for me. I'm glad to see the shared commitment by the international community to mitigate methane emissions from agriculture as a means to achieve goals we signed in the Paris Agreement on climate, said Lucas Planas, Spain's Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries, and Food. To that aim, we must promote investments and transfer of knowledge at farm level to put in practice the best available techniques that allow farmers to curb the emissions, to strengthen the resilience and adaptation to climate change. The news comes from unelected bureaucrat organizations, including the World Economic Forum, United Nations, World Health Organization, just a couple, but a couple little things that are out there, organizations that that seem to exist. It might be okay. It might not. Push the radical green agenda onto sovereign nations. As we've seen repeatedly, save the planet involves stripping the tax-paying public of their rights and slashing their quality of life by pushing false claims of an alleged climate emergency. However, as Slate News recently reported, one of the world's leading experts has just spoken out to warn the public that the climate crisis narrative is a hoax. It's not my words, that's theirs. Just saying. That's not up to me to actually decide. Slate News said that. I'm just reading their article. Dr. John Clauser, co-winner of the 2022 Nobel Physics Prize and one of the world's leading authorities of quantum mechanics, blasted climate emergency claims as a dangerous corruption of science that threatens the world's economy and the well-being of billions of people. Clauser who was also awarded the 2010 Wolf Prize in Physics, the second most prestigious physics award after the Nobel, warns that misguided climate science is a hoax that is being driven by massive shock journalistic pseudoscience. Again, not my words, I'm just reading the article. Meanwhile, a handful of powerful elites promoting the green agenda will continue to fly around in private jets and eat meat because they are part of the solution. Yes, yes. If you're part of the solution, you can do whatever you wish. It's okay. If you're not part of the solution and you're actually just part of the masses of people, the misguided masses of people, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You eat the bugs. You eat the bugs and be happy. Be happy with nothing. You just do it. Do it. It's okay. It's okay. But yes, these 13 nations had agreed. These ones here again: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Burkina Faso, Chile, Czech Republic, Ecuador, Germany, Panama, Peru, Spain, the United States, and Uruguay. Top meat producers. Top meat producers, they're all going to be like, nope, it's okay. We're going to go along with what you want, and we're fine with that. It's crashing fast. It's crashing fast, and I see this world not going to actually be able to make it very far when it comes down to it. I think there's going to be some other issues that are going to come out of it. GOP senator to introduce legislation banning irreversible transgender surgeries for minors. Yay! Yay! Maybe something good finally to come out of something, because transgender minors should never even be a thing. Should never even be a thing. There's no reason whatsoever to actually feel that way as a child and then all of a sudden just assume that you're never going to feel anything different. There's an awful lot of them that have actually felt a little bit different when it came down to it, and they've actually gone to the point of actually wanting to go back, and they can't. Irreversible. GOP Ohio Senator J.D. Vance has reportedly introduced legislation that will outlaw experimental irreversible transgender surgeries for minors. Vance will introduce a legislation called the Protect Children's Innocence Act, which is introduced by Georgia Rep. Margie Taylor Greene to the House of Representatives. Vance's legislation was first reported by the Daily Caller. The law would charge any individual who knowingly provides hormone therapy treatments, puberty blockers, or irreversible sex reassignment surgery to a minor with a Class C felony. This would result in a prison sentence of 10 to 25 years and a fine of about $250,000. In addition, higher education institutions would be prohibited from instruction on the type of health care. That's a win for humanity. Yeah, yeah. If they can actually get this passed, yeah, this is a big win. Under no circumstances should doctors be allowed to perform these gruesome, irreversible operations on underage children. With this legislation, we have an opportunity to save countless young Americans from a lifetime of suffering and regret. I want to thank Congresswoman Margie Taylor Greene for leading this issue, and I look forward to working with my Senate colleagues to protect children from these life-altering procedures, Vance told the Caller. The outlet noted that Greene's legislation was introduced in August. The Conservative Political Action Committee, CPAC, sent a letter to every Republican in the House urging them to support it. Last week, Town Hall reported that Loyola University, a Chicago-based Catholic school, is offering students a course on transgender medicine, including the treatment of trans children. Trans children don't exist. Stop it. Stop it. Loyola Medical School is responsible to train students how to care for all patients, no matter what the sexual orientation and psychological problem. Dr. Stanley Goldfarb, chairman of the organization Do No Harm, told Town Hall. But The idea that they should teach gender ideology goes far beyond either their responsibility or their scientific domain. In the face of scientific evidence that gender affirming surgery is likely unethical and certainly experimental, as is many other aspects of the gender transformation regime, Loyola should halt this activity. In addition, a Gallup poll published last month found the majority of Americans, 55%, said that changing one's gender was morally wrong. In 2021, this figure was 51%. More and more people are actually waking up to the situation and actually realizing that this isn't good. This isn't healthy to actually allow just this particular issue to fester. Transgenderism in children shouldn't be a thing. I'm not going to tell you that you can't actually go ahead and do as you feel. If that's how you feel and that's what you want to do, I mean, I'm fine with it as long as you're over the age of 18. Those that are not over the age of 18 and thinking that this is all right and that their parents are going to allow them to do it. And I know that there's a couple states that are saying that they don't need your parents' consent to actually go ahead with it. Is ridiculous and disgusting. There's no such thing and should never be such a thing as transgender children. Ever. Stop it. That's a mental issue of the parent. That is the mental issue of the parent. Oh, I put this after that just so it would actually give us something to actually lighten up about a little bit, give us something to laugh about. Ilhan Omar roasted for a tweet claiming Earth broke heat record last set 120,000 years ago. Maybe she's right. Maybe she's right. Maybe she's a quack. Rep. Ilhan Omar, Democrat in Minnesota, was roasted online as she tweeted Monday evening that the Earth broke a record for hottest day in 120 years, or 120,000 years. 120,000 years? Okay. I'm glad that you actually were there, Omar. Omar, who used the tweet to call for climate emergency declaration, added that the record for the hottest day ever was broken on 3 separate days. However, Omar's tweet was met with skepticism as she tagged Twitter community note casting doubt on the claim. What was the temperature of the globe at 12 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time on July 1st? 116,539 BC. Former House advisor Stephen Miller responded, "Is this satire?" Added Republican Utah Senate candidate Trent Staggs, the current mayor of Riverton, Utah. Earlier this month, local Florida outlet WFLA TV reported the Earth broke a record of the hottest day in 120,000 years on current day, setting the climate reanalyzer dashboard maintained by the University of Maine's Climate Change Institute. The tool compiles weather data stretching back to 1979 and comes with a stark warning that the data should not be taken as official observational records. In addition, the WFLA TV report states weather record keeping began in the 1800s, and the data from before that period is based on sophisticated methods of examining copious climate clues and proxy data like 3 rings, ice cores, and ocean sediments, etc. 120,000 years ago takes us back to when the Neanderthals were just beginning to roam the earth, who I don't think were measuring the weather. Conservative commentator Greg Price tweeted in response to Omar, "The first thermometer was invented by Galileo in 1593. And the first modern thermometer in 1714 by Gabriel Fahrenheit." She's making shit up. Okay, let's test this claim. Hold on. Great Liquor for $20 over on the Rumble side says, didn't do this. Nope, wasn't me. I denied doing it. There's no proof. Thanks, Koolfrogg. You're welcome, brother. And thank you so very much. I appreciate it. I really do. It's awesome. Though it wasn't you, I don't know why I'm actually saying thanks to you. Maybe I should say thanks to everybody else that's here. Thank you also very much for being here. If you haven't done so already, please hit a like button for me. Share things out to different places that you haven't shared stuff out to before. And let's see if you can't gather more of a crowd. Looks like there's 6 people sitting over here and about 3 sitting on Rumble. That number over on Rumble seems really small comparatively what I'm used to. It don't make no sense. Okay, let's test claim. What's the Earth temperature in July? In July, 20,000 years ago, or 60,000 years ago, or 119,000 years ago? Please provide evidence to substantiate your answers. Another commentator, Denise D'Souza, tweeted, I called my friend who is 117,094 years old, and he just confirmed this is totally true, conservative blogger Kate Hyde added. They're just ripping on her. She's, when you make any kind of claim of any sort without evidence of any sort, you're gonna get chewed up and spit out. They're laughing at her so bad. There's a few other streams on at the moment. I think, yeah, I know. There's a couple places that are still going. If you believe that we have precise daily temperature records dating back to 120,000 years, then this claim may be credible. Matt Walsh of the Daily Wire host. But if you're approximately smarter than the sea sponge, then you know that this is hysterical bullshit. So again, so many people just calling her out for her bullshit for actually coming up with such a claim that that anything of that sort would even happen. Jeremy Redfern, a spokesperson for Republican presidential candidate Ron DeSantis, said the national climate emergency demanded an excuse to do a bunch of left-wing stuff. While President Biden was focused much on the presidency of combating climate change, he has yet to formally declare a national emergency. A climate emergency declaration would enable Biden to bypass Congress and take a number of regulatory steps not normally authorized to the White House. In July 2022, after reports of that the president would issue such a declaration, he opted instead to issue executive order addressing the climate crisis. But he stopped short of the emergency declaration. Declaring the national emergency, especially an international problem, doesn't solve a thing, Benji Baker, founder of the American Conservative Coalition, said. In a tweet responding to Omar, just look at Koof. It might do well on Twitter, but it sure isn't a solution. So, again, why in the world would you actually take yourself to the point of actually saying something if you don't have something to back it up? 120,000 years ago, how do you know this? Who gave you this information that this was potentially a thing? Where did you get the information from? Oh, from Maine Climate Reanalyzer that had added a recent notice making it clear that it should not be taken as official observation records. That's where you got you went and you took something that wasn't necessarily the truth and you read it as it must be because it came from a college. They have to know what the heck they're talking about. No. Fall, winter, spring, summer equals climate change. Burr. I mean, yeah, but they're pushing it as that we're warming up and that seasons aren't going to exist if they continue to do what they're doing. If we don't go ahead and we break down and change the way things are. We've seen it in an article previously to this or whatever, where they actually, several countries are cutting down methane because they actually believe that climate change is such a thing that they're actually kind of trying to push narratives that aren't really necessarily true. She doesn't know this. She took it from somewhere. Yeah, they're morons. Exactly. Yes. The climate cultists is a new religious movement. Oh no. Oh no. These guys. This pisses me off. When I actually seen this, I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, it pissed me off to the point where I'm like, yeah, right. No, this isn't something that we should really be worried about. But at the same time, then you look at the people that are actually going ahead to do it, and you're like, oh, Rhino is going to go ahead and they're going to just kind of switch party to the Democrats. Oh, okay. GOP uniparty senators threaten to leave and become Democrats. These people are liars and they've been lying to us a long time. They've never represented the American people. Radical far left senators are threatening to leave the GOP if the party continues on the path of representing the people. The Democrats no longer represent America. They push for war in Ukraine against nuclear power Russia, the invasion across the southern border, which supports drug cartels, Chinese manufactured fentanyl, and U.S.-backed child trafficking, massive spending causing massive inflation, the destruction of human body, mind, and soul through trans rights and the perverted child pornography, and the ultimate destruction of this great Christian country. As central banks stockpile, that's not part of it. Now, 4 GOP U.S. senators are threatening to join them, according to the conservative treehouse. According to interviews conducted by The Hill, several Republican senators are now saying that they just cannot be members of the Republican Party if they are forced to represent the interests of the base voter. They very specifically named Republicans have always been members of the Uniparty in D.C. However, now that they're saying populism and common sense, America first voting base is not going to be acceptable. The senators are openly warning that if putting American interests first is going to be demanded by the voters, these Republicans will become Democrats. There's no reason for Americans to distrust the institutions the Republican senators support, and there will be no compromise on the discussion. What is making these Republican senators angrier is that who is considered to be intellectual and professional people are also demanding that more populist approach toward the government that represents the people. This is just not going to be allowed, according to Lisa Murkowski, John Thune, John Cornyn, and the other names outlined. Rhinos. That's what they were. We already knew that Murkowski was a rhino. We knew that Cronin was a rhino. We knew that we knew it. We know, and who was it? John Thune. They've never really been Republicans. They've never actually really been there. We've known this. We watched the Murkowski thing. We watched her come out of Alaska. We watched it. We paid attention to it. We paid attention to everything that was happening leading up to her actually getting the seat with the ranked choice voting bullshit that they pushed. It wasn't hers. It wasn't hers. And then all of a sudden, ranked choice voting comes into play, and they're like, oh, now it's hers. Because the rhino picked up the vote. The rhino is the one that's, oh, okay, fine. I'll just become a Democrat. It's just like this young lady from yesterday out of Georgia that was being ridiculed from switching parties from Democrat to Republican. Maybe she's a dino. She actually had different thoughts when it came down to it. These rhinos, when it comes down to it, know exactly why they're doing what they're doing. They don't care about America. They don't care about any of us. And all they care about is their own freaking pocket. And that's what they're going to continue to move along on. If they have to go along with what anybody else says, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. They're doing exactly what the young lady out of Georgia did. Didn't want to go along with what she was being forced to do. They don't want to go along with what they're forced to do, so they're going to switch party. They're going to go ahead. They're going to switch party so that they can actually continue to push their agendas. Now, these are senators. These are actual senators. So if these three decided to actually do such a thing, that would actually take away from Kamala Harris having to be that tiebreaker. She doesn't no longer need to be the tiebreaker. She's no longer needed. Oh, well. Oh, well. It's all good, apparently. I mean, I can't tell them to change their mind. You can't either, apparently. But they're going to continue to do whatever it is that they want. So there you go, Lisa Murkowski. We knew you were a rhino. We knew it all along. We've been calling you a rhino for as long as we possibly had been around. And now here you are. Here you are. I'm just going to switch parties. I'm going to switch parties because I'm going to actually make it be, because I don't care about America first. I care about every other country that exists before our own. Well, I got a lot left. We're at 2 hours, huh? Maybe some of this might not actually be covered tonight. I did cover those things that were actually at the top of the list. We might actually call it at about the top of the hour here. Biden official behind gas stove crackdown admits she was no clue what it takes to install an electric stove. Do any of you know? Do any of you know? You know the difference between 110 and 220? Do you understand what it takes to actually install an electric stove as opposed to actually using a 110 with a fuel line? You got to upgrade yourself to a 220. Well, this lady had no clue. This is senior Biden administration officials responsible for overseeing the new rule that would push households to purchase electric stoves over cheaper gas-powered stoves, said that she does not know how the electric stove is installed during testimony before the House Oversight Committee on Energy Policy, Economic Growth, and Regulatory Affairs on Tuesday. The Department of Energy on February 1st published a proposed federal regulation that would require millions of household gas stoves in the United States to be modified for energy efficiency. According to the rule's text, energy efficiency. These seriously think that it's more energy efficient to actually switch everybody over to 220 power to actually run the electric? You freaking morons. How is that going to be more energy efficient? According to the rule's text, which has provoked the outcry of Republicans in a testimony before the subcommittee, Geraldine Richmond, the Undersecretary of Energy and Science and Innovation, who oversaw the rulemaking process, that said that she did not know how the electric stove and suggested alternative under the rule would be installed. If you're not making a lot of money, you can't afford the expensive one that will meet the standard. So you've got to buy the other one. If you have a gas stove in your home right now and there's a gas line coming into it, you probably have a 110 connection, said Republican Rep. Scott Perry out of Pennsylvania, who also chairs the House Freedom Caucus. Do you know what it takes to put an electric stove into your home, he asked. No, I don't, Richmond replied. Here, I do, exclaimed Perry. You've got to run a 220 line, which means you've probably got to get an electrician to do it. You're going to have to hire somebody to come in and drill holes in your floor, pull wiring to the panel, and hook up the whole thing. He added, before asking whether Richmond had included the cost of installation and estimated efficiency savings. We're strongly in favor of consumer choice, Richmond began to say, with Perry saying, apparently not, as she spoke. Along with the Department of Education's rule statement, the Richard Trumka Jr. Remember, we actually talked about this guy at one point in time. A Biden-appointed commissioner, U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commissioner, had led conservatives to believe that the administration seeks to discourage the use of gas stoves in homes as part of the climate policy. This is a hidden hazard, said Trumka in the interview with Bloomberg News in January. Any option is on the table. Products that can't be made safe can be banned. Oh, really? 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 You're gonna continue to push these lies that it's actually that's gonna actually save, and it's gonna be more energy efficient to actually come along with an electric stove over and above the gas stove. Why? Because you don't care about the electricity. That's not the point. Your whole point is that you don't want us to use the natural gas so that you no longer have to worry about it. Because electricity is safe. Yeah, right. Sure. Sure. It sure is. You've seen electrical fires before? I have. Dumb. Ridiculous bullshit. Dumb, ridiculous bullshit. What still works when power fails? Gas stoves! Yeah, I wonder why. So you can still actually cook food, but if they can actually get us to all go to electricity run stoves, those electric stoves, and then something happens where they actually drop an EMP and all of a sudden, boom, they knock out the power. Oh, guess what? We no longer have a means of actually cooking anything. You're damn right. There's going to be an awful lot of people that are going to be powering up grills. They're going to be doing whatever they can to actually go outside and cook their food. You know who grills almost on a nightly basis? This guy. I was trying to actually watch this today. I didn't really get a chance to actually watch the whole committee meeting. Committee devolves into chaos after Democrat rep compares Republicans to terrorists. The House Appropriations Committee took nearly 2-hour-long recess in the middle of Tuesday hearing after ranking member Rosa DeLauro compared Republican members of Congress to terrorists. The committee met with debate fiscal year 2024 funding in the Department of Transportation and Housing and Urban Development. Shortly after 12 p.m., Republican Oklahoma Rep. Tom Cole introduced the amendment that would strike earmarks for 3 LGBTQ community centers. Several Democrats objected to it, claiming that revoking funding would cause violence against the LGBTQ community. This is a disgrace. In all the 2 years that I dealt with the community projects, never once did we challenge the Republican project. We said, you did what you want to do, and we do what we want to do. And that's been destroyed today. Chairman Cole, who I have the utmost respect for, as you all know, let me quote you from the roll call in August. I think they've been helpful in the process. I think they've helped members address problems. I think it's been administered fairly. You went on to say, I hope we continue, frankly, the way we have operated, DeLauro said. So it only went on for the 2 hours. It only went on for 2 hours. They never went back. That's funny. Is there no limit on how you will go to break the faith and trust of which the committee is supposed to operate? All to placate the whims of some who I might add is looking historically. Do not ever vote for appropriations bills. You are negotiating with terrorists. She continued as Republicans sought to have her words stricken from the record. Under House rules, members' words can be stricken from the record and taken down. If they are disorderly and unparliamentary, another member must object, and then the chair decides whether to eliminate the remarks from the record. After the recess, DeLauro agreed to withdraw her comments. She agreed to withdraw her comments, calling Republicans terrorists. Such a nice, ignorant old lady. Ex-wife 2.0 did that during an ice storm in Kansas City. Came home to a family on the edge of death. Oh, because Ben said that bring grills inside to use them, which is dangerous. Yeah, don't bring your grills inside. Nope. Those go outside. Those go outside, never inside, and always at least a couple feet away from the nearest wall. At least a couple feet away from the nearest wall. Never put it up against the wall either. What a God, there's so many retarded people in this world. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being here. Oh, it's so good. uh, let's kind of move on here. Squad member Corey Bush compares removing a human life to removing a headache in response to abortion bill ban. Oh, really? It's just like taking a Tylenol? Oh, okay. Banning medication abortion would be like placing a ban on Tylenol. I mean, you continue to take Tylenol too much and find out what happens to your liver as well as other organs and watch yourself actually succumb to that as well. I mean, you can be an idiot and you can try using, something such as stupid as that as a discussion point, or you can actually use your brain for 2 seconds and actually do the research on what Tylenol can actually do to you as well, before you start actually pushing your idiocy. On Monday, House Oversight Democrat hosted a discussion to impact the restricting access to abortion pills. The event was led by Corey Bush and featured Reps Jasmine Crockett and Jamie Raskin, as well as pro-choice Missouri Community Engagement Director Reverend Love Holt. During the discussion, Bush downplayed the seriousness of life-ending drugs, suggesting that restricting access to them was equivalent to placing a ban on Tylenol. These 5 pills are effective, Bush said, holding up a packet of mifepristone, a drug involved in 50% of the abortions in the United States. Medication abortion pills are safe again, effective again, no different from any other medication that's safe and effective. Again, Tylenol's not really safe. It may be effective temporarily, but in the long run, if you continue to take it day after day, you're going to actually find some horrible side effects that come along with it. She went on to note that Food and Drug Administration declared the pills to be safe for the past 23 years, and that using mifepristone together with misoprostol was a 97% effective way to terminate a pregnancy. Medication abortion is a lifeline, Bush continued. It's a lifeline for a mom of 2 who can't afford childcare. It's a lifeline for a person who lives hundreds of miles away from the nearest clinic and doesn't have reliable transportation. It's a lifeline for trans folks who face transphobia and bigotry because of anti-LGBT plus laws and outrageous bans on gender-affirming care. Sorry, but I'm pretty sure that doesn't work that way. That most guys, men, regardless to what you've done to your body to make yourself look like a woman, still technically can't conceive or have children. Kind of weird, hey? She suggested the pills have a way of women to terminate the pregnancies in the privacy of their own home, where they're not confronted by a hostile crowd of anti-abortion protesters harassing them and spewing hate. Banning medication abortion, Bush said, calling for it to be made as easily accessible as other medications, would be placing a ban on Tylenol, a ban on antibiotics. There's no valid medical reason to do so. It's only a political propaganda. Again, antibiotics really aren't the best thing for you either, unless you actually have an infection. So, just to give you a little instance on that or whatever, or for instance on that, I had a tooth that needed to be a root canal. So, it the doctor, just after fixing it, goes and says, "Here's your prescription. Go fill the prescription." And I'm like, "What's it for?" And he's like, "Oh, it's just an antibiotic, just to take care of the infection." So I'm like, "Oh, okay, okay, it's just an antibiotic. No, okay, no big deal." A week later, when I go back to actually get the second step done, goes to write me another one. And I said, "Well, if I need it, I'll just fill the other one." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't take the other one because I didn't need it because I didn't have an infection. I'm good." And he's like, "But I told you to take it." And I said, "Yeah, you told me to take it if I had an infection, right?" And he's like, "Well, no, you were supposed to take it." I'm like, "Yeah, if I have an infection." That's what an antibiotic does. It kills an infection. If you don't have the infection, don't take the bullshit. Are you fucking kidding me? There's no valid medical reason to do so, and only political propaganda. A bunch of lies. Monday's discussion comes amid a slew of pro-life legislation making its way through state legislatures as a result of the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade. Yes, it was push and push and push against the Supreme Court in their decision to overturn such a ridiculous act of Roe v. Wade. Kids had headaches the rest of the night. Yeah, don't take things if you don't need them. Only use them if necessary and when needed. And most doctors will sit there and push something that's not necessary to actually uh, do such a thing. I'm going to actually stop sharing the screen for a second. Let's do this. I'm going to actually close a couple of these because I'm getting to the point where I know I'm not going to be able to finish all this. Pay attention tomorrow. I'm going to see if I can't actually produce something and actually put it up as its own standalone video to go along with some of the stuff that I'm actually removing from this particular. Some of the stuff is there's just way too much, and from what I thought it was going to be. Close. Keep that one. And that one's already done. All right. All right. So we're down to about 8 more articles here. Yes, I just reduced it by about 6. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. Here you go. These are going to go pretty quick here. I'm not going to actually take a lot of time. I don't think we need to actually put the time in. So Malik Obama then deletes claim that brothers Barack is definitely gay. Oh, Malik. Oh, what's up, Malik? How you doing? Anybody remember Malik? This dude from Kenya? Malik Obama, the well-known half-brother of Barack Obama, caught eyeballs on Monday on social media with the reaction he gave to a posted letter in which the former president praised librarians and complained about the banning of certain types of books, including ones that push LGBTQ plus propaganda. An infamous piece of LGBTQ plus work that has raised concerns for many schools, parents, and genderqueer, a memoir, a book that features numerous graphic images and descriptions of homosexual conduct. This despite it being written for and distributed to children. Seemingly lamenting the treatment of the story was consequently received. Mainstream news outlets such as NBC News and the state-funded NPR have covered it in an angle of it being one of the most banned books in America. Last year, the Los Angeles Times published a column titled, "I Read Genderqueer, the most banned book in America, and so should you." I don't really know if everybody should actually read such a thing. Not that I'm against reading books, but obviously I got plenty behind me. But why would I actually want to read something that's called genderqueer? Why? What's it gonna do for me? It's not gonna do a damn thing. Malik reacted to Barack's letter on Twitter, simply commenting to the now deleted post, "This man is definitely gay." Oops. Let's go down. Let's go look at the tweet. Where did the tweet go? Is it up here further? Did I scroll past it? Oh, it's right at the headline. Malik Obama, "This man is definitely gay." Called out his own half brother. And then goes ahead and deletes it because, well, maybe I shouldn't have done such a thing. Sibling rivalry is such a fun thing, isn't it? Barack and Michelle Obama are normal heterosexual couple. Yep. Big Mike totally is Yep. Totally. Right. Exactly. Great. Like oh, what? Really? You don't say. Now doctors warn of health impacts of secondhand vaping. Study finds e-cigarettes spew about 22 times the safe level of microscopic toxins. So, again, and I'll say one more time, for all of you out there that think it's okay to go ahead and vape because you're like, "Oh, I'm not smoking cigarettes any longer. I'm no longer taking in all the toxins or the tar or the this or the that or the other." Wrong. Wrong. So if you think that secondhand vaping only affects the other person, think about yourself as you're sitting there. You take the big pull off that vape, you exhale, and then as you take a nice deep breath in and take in the secondhand vape. Perfect. Idiots. Telling you, if you're vaping because you're like, "Oh, it's better than smoking cigarettes," wrong. You're wrong. They got little batteries in them. They got little batteries in them that are being mass produced. Guess what happens to those batteries when they actually get wet or anything else happens to them? They explode. Go ahead, take a big pull off of one and watch it explode in your face when that actually happens. Australia declared vaping a national health emergency in the last budget. They're trying to ban it because so many underage kids are now vaping and then smoking who never did before. Huh. Why? Because most of them come in these fun little flavors and tastes to make it actually taste like it's like it's like sucking on a piece of candy. Fucking stupid. Again, I told you I'm gonna actually move through a bunch of this pretty quick because it really doesn't really take a lot to actually understand. You can see it right there off the headline. The main point of the story. Yep, they're marketed directly at kids. Like that's why most of the states here actually had banned the use of menthol. They actually took it away on purpose. It's gone from bad to worse. Yep, and people don't see it. They don't understand it. They don't think that this is actually something that is something that's wrong. I'm actually going to take this particular article and I'm going to actually take it and put it into Discord, and I'm going to send it to Good Logic so that he can actually see what actually happens. So maybe he'll actually quit doing that as well. YouTube star Annabelle Ham, dead at 22. I don't understand why God does things. I don't either. Popular social media influencer Annabelle Ham, known for sharing her day-to-day life as a college student, has died at the age of 22. She allegedly passed away Saturday. Allegedly? Did she maybe not? Is this just a story that they didn't actually look into to actually see what was actually going on before they did it? They just kind of like, well, allegedly. Allegedly passed away on Saturday, according to the university's sorority chapter, but the cause of death has not been revealed. Her sister Amelia confirmed the internet source passing on Monday in a heartfelt Instagram post. Sometimes I don't understand why God does things, but I can't even put into words how hard this is. You would never think something like this would or could happen to you until it does. She described Annabelle as amazing, sweet, and such a good sister to herself and her sister Alexandria, who also shared her heartbreak online. She was so sweet, so pretty, and most bluest eyes ever. She was always happy and lighted up the room. But God was ready for her. I know she's always wanted to live life in the fullest. That's what we have to do now. And I know she is dancing around in heaven right now. I can't wait to give you a big hug one day. Yeah, fairly attractive young lady in herself. It's kind of sad to actually think that such a thing would actually happen, though we don't exactly know what happened and what was the actual cause, as it's still just being alleged. Amelia thanked people for their kind messages and condolences, promising to never forget her late sister. The post was reached by Annabelle's family and representatives for further comment. The Atlanta-based creator was amassed 77,000 YouTube subscribers, and more than 107,000 followers across Instagram and TikTok, where she shared beauty tutorials, snippets of her life, and more. Not many people actually do that. They don't document a lot of things when it comes to actual online reasonings. Suddenly, potentially, go Hagen. We don't know because they're not actually saying they didn't use the word suddenly. They just said that she had died and that it was confirmed. That it was confirmed by family that she had actually done so. That she had actually succumbed to whatever it was. I'm sure that there will be something here in the near future where they'll actually explain to us what actually did happen. But because her life was so uh, documented and had as many followers as she did, I would almost believe that there's still going to because there's all of this that had all these videos that she had amassed that she had put together for all these followers and all these people that maybe just maybe they would actually be able to continue to go back and actually watch the stuff that she had actually produced to actually go ahead and they actually get to still continue to see her for what she was. I read it was related to epilepsy. No idea. We never know them. Our goldfish memories forget and move on to the next thing. Right. That's interesting if it's epilepsy, because if that's the case, that it was actually epilepsy, there's usually signs that you're actually going to go through um, and have epileptic seizures. I've known people that actually have epilepsy. If that's the actual case, again, fairly pretty lady. If that's actually the case, it's sad to believe that she had actually succumbed to such a thing. But yet, this article in itself does not actually say exactly what had happened. I don't think we really need to actually read the whole thing to understand that this very beautiful young lady actually got removed and from the face of this planet, and maybe hopefully is in a better place. Hopefully, she's in a better place than the rest of us. Um, Still sad, disturbing in itself. Again, Annabelle Ham. Annabelle Ham. Stay away from the wild animals. Stay away. It says a woman suffers serious injuries from an incident with a bison in North Dakota. This here says not the bison from the story. So they just found a picture of a bison so that they could actually put a bison in there to actually create the story. A Minnesota woman suffered a severe injury Saturday after an encounter with a bison in Theodore Roosevelt National Park in North Dakota. Park officials alerted the incident involving a bison and a park visitor in a Painted Canyon trailhead at approximately 11 a.m. local time, according to Tuesday press release of the National Park Service. Park rangers, Billings County Sheriff's Office, first responder, and emergency medical service personnel arrived on the scene and provided treatment to the unidentified woman for her injuries until the ambulance arrived. EMTs brought the woman to the hospital in nearby Dickinson, where she was transported to a hospital in Fargo for further care. She was last reported to be in serious but stable condition, according to press release. Stay away from the wildlife. While details surrounding the incident remain unknown, park officials said that the woman sustained significant injuries to her abdomen and foot. Park regulations instruct visitors to stay at least 25 yards for the length of 2 houses away from a large animal or mammals, including bison, elk, deer, pronghorn, and horses. Bison bulls are particularly aggressive during rutting season, which runs from mid-July through August. Use extra caution to give additional space during this time. The release reads, park staff send their sincere well wishes to her and her family as she continues to receive care and recover. Jay-Z, what is up? Good to see you. Yes, definitely smash the like button. The Jets will still lose this season. Will they? Will they? Are you sure about that? Well, I guess we'll have to watch and see. A boy thrown from carnival ride at Illinois Community Festival. Moby Dick. Okay. Antioch, Illinois. Carnival rides were shut down at Illinois Community Festival after a 10-year-old boy was thrown from his seat and seriously injured, authorities said. The boy was riding Moby Dick, which locks people in at their shoulders and then goes up and down as speed increases. The boy was thrown Sunday as the ride was moving at Antioch's Taste of Summer, 60 miles northwest of Chicago, near the Wisconsin border. Did not cross the border. The carnival was packed, and so a lot of people experienced seeing it. The Charles Smith Operations Commander at Antioch Police Department, it's a traumatic event for our community. The boy was taken to the hospital in Chicago with non-life-threatening injuries, including multiple facial fractures and significant leg injury. Moby Dick was inspected this year and given a state permit. Mayor Scott Gardner shut down the rides at Taste of Summer after the boy was injured. Antioch Police Chief Geoff Gutschall said his department would investigate for any reckless or negligent acts that could have contributed to the incident. State regulators who inspect rides have joined the investigation. There have been other incidences on summer rides this year. On July 2nd, 8 people were trapped upside down in the roller coaster in Crandon, Wisconsin. A large crack was discovered in the support column in the Ferry 325 of the towering roller coaster in Carowinds in North Carolina. As far as this goes, blame the people that actually put the ride up, because that's exactly who it is. They're the ones that actually should have known The person that was standing there putting people on these rides should have known that this person was not large enough, tall enough to actually be put into this particular ride. And for whatever reason, whatever failure it was, whether it was the ride's failure or the failure of the person, should be maybe charged, properly. Just saying. Just saying. There you go. UK amusement park will no longer host pride events after drag queen simulated sex acts in front of the children. With what is she? What is he doing? The UK amusement park was announced that they would no longer host pride celebrations after the drag queen simulated sex acts in front of children during all ages and family-friendly events. The Adventure Island in Southland Sea, Essex, is apologizing to customers after a RuPaul's Drag Race UK star used an angle grinder on his crotch as children looked on. An angle grinder? You're just going to go ahead, you're going to take a grinder and you're going to go ahead and grind the steel plate that you're wearing over the top of your crotch. What happens if you were actually just so happen to actually lose control of such a thing? I used to grind metals. I used to work at a couple different factories where I actually did use hand grinders to actually grind, steel castings. And when that shit hits right, and it just so happens to grab, if you don't have enough strength behind it, that sucker will actually come ripping right at your freaking body. Right at your body. I've had plenty of them hit me, come super close to actually gashing my stomach. I've ripped plenty of shirts off of me with angle grinders for doing this, doing something not like this, but for whatever reason, somebody felt it was necessary to simulate sex acts with an angle grinder. Wow. Stop it. Just stop it. I thought all good carnivals ended with bloodshed. No, wait. Maybe that was... Great liquor is so funny. Oh my lord. How do you feel about this person? Would you just get it grind on? Yep. I seen this and I'm like, no, just no. Oh, wait until he hurts himself or whatever it is. This one actually has a video. This one, I'm gonna actually show you this video because it's freaking hilarious. It says Bay Area hell. San Francisco stores now chaining their freezers and bathrooms shut to stop shoplifters. One store has been robbed 20 times in one day. Come ask for assistance. Everything in this store has been locked up. There's not a dang thing. Even the stuff at the very top shelf already has cases around it. Absolutely everything is going to now ask for an assistant to come with you to unlock it. Okay. So that's this scene here. One person's a worker, the other one's looking for something off the shelf. We're now prepay? Give us your credit card. It will take you around the store to go shopping. It will check you through, and then you can walk away with your goods. Is the shop owned by Asians by chance? I have no clue, Ben. I have no clue. It's the Walgreens on 16th and Geary in San Francisco. So, yeah, I mean, you want something? You want a frozen pizza? Come get the counter to get somebody from the counter to come assist you. You see U-bolt locks around the doors for the ice cream bars. When you have to actually go that far because there's so many people stealing things from your store, obviously there's something wrong. There's something wrong with far left Democrat cities that have forever been allowing theft to just run rampant. 20 times in a day? You dealt with 20 times in a day? Dealing with criminals robbing your store? What the fuck? Are you kidding? All right. One last thing. Maybe I should have put that one last as opposed to this one. I think some of you have already heard about this. But I found it kind of interesting. I mean, yeah, we'll do it anyway. I skipped doing it yesterday. The reason that I'm doing it today. FBI reportedly finds 40 human skulls, some used as decoration in Kentucky man's home. FBI agents reportedly discovered dozens of human bones, some repurposed as furniture as Kentucky apartment Tuesday morning. When agents asked James Williams Knott if anyone was home, Knott replied, "Only my dead friends." Knott was allegedly believed to be part of a network involved in illegal purchases of and sale of stolen human remains, which was linked to the part of recently exposed Harvard Medical School scandal. And this is the reason that I brought this up, because I've actually covered the Harvard Medical School scandal and the multiple people that were actually involved in it. Now, this guy just so happens to have 40 human skulls found in his apartment. What is he doing? Pledges allegiance to the American flag. Oh, hand across the heart. Okay. This is Bob. This is Sue. This is my brother Jack. What did he do with them? Why would he feel the necessity? I mean, you're looking around. How disgusting can you be to actually think that this is all okay? So it says FBI agents discovered 40 human skulls and various other human body parts around his apartment. Wave reported agents allegedly found one skull with a scarf wrapped around its neck, while another was discovered in Knott's mattress. Really? What were you doing? According to the outlet, spinal cords, femurs, hip bones, and bag associated with Harvard Medical School were also among the findings Wave reported. Well, Knott, it was yet to be charged specifically concerning the body parts. He is facing federal firearms charges in relation to the status of a convicted felon, according to the outlet. Authorities have reportedly found inert grenades and 2 body armor plates inside Knott's home. It's a shock. You just never know who the neighbor is anymore. Carolyn Burnham, a neighbor who lives across the street from Knott, told WLKY. You just don't know who your neighbors are anymore. Talk to them. Go talk to your neighbors. Find out what they're about, what they actually like to do. And maybe we'll actually find some more people that are actually so disgusting and disturbing, as opposed to actually waiting to find somebody that has so many human skulls and other things in their house. How long has this guy been doing this for? How disturbed can you be? Disgusting. He is such a nice skull collector. Yes, I know, right? He's such a nice, such a pleasant man with so many different skulls in his house, as well as other body parts, as well as in his own bed. It's all okay. It's all okay. It's okay. He can be as disgusting as he wants. Wow. Just wow. All right, everybody. All that being said, thank you all so very, very much for being here today. If you haven't done so already, please smash the like button. Share this out to a place that you'd like to actually share it to, that it's already not been shared to. And you know, let all your friends where you know like to hang out and create some conversation. Maybe we can actually get some more people in here. Love y'all. Later. Let's give you.
I don't want to live on this planet anymore.
Later.